Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Rohde. I am joined alongside my co-host, London Beth, and today we are giving a full recap of the Chicago Bears 2021 draft, which is arguably one of the best draft classes ever under Ryan Pace. Now, we are not giving the draft class a full grade because we don't know how good these guys are going to work together, but we are going to go individually by player from their college experience and how they fit into this team perfectly. So, London and I are ecstatic about talking about the first pick by the Chicago Bears at pick number 11. London, I know that before I was a big Kellen Mond guy. You were all in on Justin Fields about the Bears moving up to 4, but the Bears ended up picking up Justin Fields in the first round at pick number 11, not giving up nearly as much as they gave up for Mitch Trubisky, for a guy who could be a franchise-changing player. London, give me the lowdown about Justin Fields.
Wow. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry that I missed the other video that you guys talked about after the first night of the draft. I had one too many whiskeys. I was so excited. We finally just got a quarterback, and I'll just say this before kind of deep diving into the getting him at the 11th pick instead of the 4th through the 8th, top 10, is we finally picked a quarterback, and I know you guys hit on this, that has played more than 17 games at a collegiate level. He's a guy that has been touted as a great quarterback coming out of high school, as a great athlete, a guy who says nothing and puts it all on the field. I cannot be more excited that we got this guy outside of the top 10. I thought we were going to maybe get a quarterback at 12 to the Eagles. It happened to 11 to the Giants. The trade was first round this year, first round next year. I think a 5th round pick and then a 4th round next year. Honestly, for a franchise quarterback, if that's what Justin Fields can be, that was absolutely nothing comparative to what we probably would have gave up moving up to the 8th pick or the 4th pick overall in this draft. I'm super excited. I'm great. I'm very, 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 very just happy to be actually talking about a quarterback. I know in all the other stuff that we've done, our mock drafts, our needs, quarterback was always a big thing for the both of us.
Yeah, I mean, you said it best. Quarterback was obviously a need for both of us, but when was it going to come? I was all in for not moving with 20 and getting an offensive lineman. But guess what happened? We ended up moving up and giving up, like you said, nothing for this guy who could be a generation-like player. He was proven in college. I mean, his sophomore year stats at Ohio State, the year before the COVID season, was absurd. 41 touchdowns in 3 interceptions. That's next level. That's crazy. I mean, even if he had 10 picks, 41 and 10, that's incredible. But 41 and 3 at the collegiate level, very impressive. Obviously, bringing onto the field, like you said, in the NFL. But this pick feels right. Chicago Bears fans were actually genuinely excited, and like something felt different about this draft. And the fact that they only gave up 1 first-round pick. Now, I know you said they got rid of 2, but no, they swapped. They swapped 20 and 11, gave up next year's 1st, gave up this year's 5th, and gave up next year's 4th. That's fine. Ryan Pace just gave himself another live on his cat lives because he is a cat. He has a million lives when it comes to being the general manager of the Chicago Bears. And also, this is the first quarterback drafted under Matt Nagy, fun fact. Matt Nagy has not had 1 quarterback drafted under him while being the Bears head coach. The quarterback whisperer, he was a huge influence why the Kansas City Chiefs went with Patrick Mahomes, and he was a huge influence this season why they went out and got Justin Fields. So here's a little bit more about him. Justin Fields is 6'3", 235 pounds. Big dude, pretty big dude. I mean, that is not a small man, but on top of being 6'3", 235, he runs a 4.4440. That is fast. That is wide receiver fast. And I know we joked about Ohio State quarterbacks always becoming wide receivers in the NFL, but this guy is different compared to the Terrell Pryors, a couple other names that come out of Ohio State. Can't think of them off the top of my head right now, but London knows them all. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but this is different. Another fun fact about Justin Fields is that Matt Nagy, during their pro day interview and their other interviews with the Chicago Bears, tested him and said, here are some of our plays. I want you to remember it. And if we draft you, I'm going to test you to see if you remember them. And he gave Justin Fields a couple of the different plays they discussed, and Fields remembered it to a T. So he's got great quarterback IQ. He listens to his coaches and he respects it. He knows that the weight of Chicago is now on his shoulders, but you can't hate this guy. I mean, you can't. I'm very excited, and we didn't give up much for him. Very, very excited for Justin Fields to be a Chicago Bear. And I know London is too, obviously.
Oh, no, very excited. I'm extremely excited. And the thing that you hit on right there, Nick, is the weight of Chicago. The weight of Chicago. I'm going to say it a third time. The weight of Chicago. We are the third largest market in this entire United States. Chicago is people talk about we're some of the smartest sports fans. You know, we're a large city. We're a big market. And we've never had a franchise quarterback drafted like this, probably, honestly, since maybe like Jim McMahon. I don't even know if he was at this level. So the biggest thing that I loved about Justin Fields is that, and why I thought the Jets actually should have taken him with the second overall pick, is because in a large market like New York, like Chicago, he's used to those bright lights. He's used to, all the criticism. Right when he got drafted, he goes, I'm done with the talking. I'm done with what everybody said pre-draft. He goes, I'm just going to get to work. And every single thing, and this is probably a great move by all of his PR people that he hired, because he's a multimillionaire now. All I've seen all over Instagram, Twitter, Chicago Bears, .com is just him in the gym working out. And again, he's kind of pulling a Michael Jordan. Enough talking, time to get out there on the field. Show me what you got. I'm going to run a 4-4, so I'm going to run past you. I'm going to run through you. He's the most accurate quarterback in this draft over Trevor Lawrence and everybody else. And that's a big thing. Accuracy in the NFL kills. You can have the biggest arm in the world like Jay Cutler. If you can't put it on a rope 7 yards on a slant route to Darnell Mooney, you will lose games. And this is the most accurate quarterback to come out of college since good old Drew Brees out of Purdue.
You know what, London? I think we're going to remember this in a couple of years when you said that Justin Fields is acting like Michael Jordan. There is something about this kid, and I can say that because it's weird to say that you and I are both older than this guy in the NFL, making more money than he knows what to do with already. But there's something about him that he brings that edge like MJ. And you know what? Everyone kind of said that about Jimmy Butler when he went to the Bulls. Look how Jimmy Butler turned out. He is this year was a little different, but hard worker, super excited for him. And kind of one more thing I want to hit on is that Andy Dalton still is the confirmed starter for the Chicago Bears entering the season, but nothing wrong with that because he's going to mentor Justin Fields, and Justin Fields knows that. The Bears respectfully called Andy Dalton, said, hey, we are taking this guy. You are still our starter, though. And now a lot of people are saying, yeah, this Andy Dalton guy isn't so bad. A lot of Bears Twitter is like, what? I'm okay with him mentoring. So more to come on that. But speaking of big markets, in the next pick, the Bears took a very big man. The Bears, again, traded up for a guy that we've actually hit on before. They traded with the Carolina Panthers. They swapped second-round picks, this year's third, and a sixth. And we got the 151st pick back, which I actually predicted, which was kind of weird. I predicted that the Bears were trading up to this spot, but not the player. But with the 39th pick in the second round, the Bears took Teven Jenkins, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma State. London and I had him going in the first round in some of our mock drafts. I mean, this was an awesome pickup. I think we gave up a little bit too much for him, considering the fact that he is an offensive tackle. He has shorter arms, but this guy is a definition of a bulldozer. He will roll over you. He will make your life absolute hell on a football field. And he's got the swagger that we were hoping that Khalil Mack would have, that Cordell Patterson had. Cordell Patterson had swagger, big guy, but you love it when it comes from a guy like Akeem Hicks, like Khalil Mack, like Jenkins. I mean, this guy is 6'6", 320 pounds, and he doesn't look 320 because he looks like he's like a Romanian deadlifter. So right now, they are saying that he is the confirmed replacement for the recently released Charles Leno Jr., which is awesome. A little risky, though. Hopefully they throw him at right tackle and Infidetti at left tackle, but a big ask, but very excited about this guy. A lot of people are saying he is the steal of the draft at 39 because he was in a lot of people's top 10 as a lineman. So, great run blocker, large body, smart. I like this guy a lot, and he brings that, I'm a bad MFer to the field. So I know London likes him. I like him a lot, but what a pickup.
Yeah, no. And Nick, you're totally right. What an absolute pickup. I mean, Tevin Jenkins, people had him going as high as 15, 14, somewhere around there. And we landed him in the second round. And honestly, giving up a third round pick and one of our 6th-round picks, and then just swapping seconds was another absolutely masterful trade that Ryan Pace made. I honestly disagree with you a little bit on giving up a lot. I think Teven Jenkins fits the Chicago mentality of offensive linemen really well. He's versatile. So he's played just like Whitehair, just like Daniels, just like a lot of linemen, really, really great linemen that we have. Kyle Long, when he was healthy, they played multiple positions in college. He played guard. He played right tackle. He played left tackle. This guy is a mauler. Literally the definition on any like ESPN, everything like that just says mauler. And then the first highlight is him literally taking a guy 15 yards into their sideline bench. He's going to get after you. He's going to hit you. He's going to hurt you. And you're not going to like going up against him. Also, I really like that they are actually going to possibly start him right away, because in practice, he's going to be going up against some of the best edge and defensive linemen. There's no way he doesn't see all those things Khalil Mack has done to rookie linemen, just flipping them one-handed and stuff. And he doesn't want that to happen, because then he'll be a Twitter clip.
Yeah, I mean, again, super excited about this guy. There is no doubt in my mind that I love this pickup. I just think that 3 picks to move up a little bit was enough to make me go, but we did get one back. So you know what? I go back on what I said. I really do like this pickup, though. And like you said, when he pancaked that guy on the sideline, it wasn't just one time. It was dozens of times he's done it. And during his pro career in college, or his collegiate career, he gave up 2 sacks total. And that was in his first 2 years. The man is a beast. Super excited about him. Everyone already loves him. He's already tweeting the Blackhawks. How do I get a jersey? This guy screams Chicago. Very happy to have Jenkins on the squad. Now, the Bears stayed big. The Bears stayed big. Their 3rd pick of the draft did not come to the 5th because, again, they traded their 2nd and their 3rd to go up and get Jenkins. But they got the 151st back from Carolina, and they took Larry Borom. I think I said that correctly. Larry Borom, offensive tackle out of Mizzou. A lot of people are saying, how did Ryan Pace get some of these guys this late especially? I mean, another awesome late round pickup that Ryan Pace is known for doing. He was projected to be late 3rd by a lot of experts, and we got him in the 5th. So that's already a huge win right there. He fills in another huge need on the offensive line chart, and very well. Let him get a year of experience. He could be one of our tackles in 2 years. So you have Jenkins and Borom on both sides of the tackle, Whitehair and Daniels interior, and Mustafa in the middle. That's a young, strong offensive Bears line. And, he's 6'5", 332. And fun fact, he worked out all offseason with Justin Fields. So these guys know each other. He knows how he works as a lineman. They have a relationship. And that's something that you want. I mean, you've seen teams before when you take a elite quarterback, you usually go out and get one of his linemen that communicate well with him. He's worked with this guy before. Super excited. Another great run blocker, a strong blocker overall. Little slow, but he's going to bring what was needed in order to help David Montgomery, Tyreek Cohen, Williams, and Herbert, the next pick, which we'll get to in a minute. But I know London's ecstatic about this guy too. I mean, we love this draft. We love this draft.
we absolutely hit on almost everything we possibly needed in this draft. And what Larry is and what he will, I don't think he'll be a day one starter. I think that they'll sit him behind whoever starts at right tackle, whether that's Jenkins, Infidetti, maybe a guard and stuff like that. I think they'll give him half a year to a year, possibly if an injury pops up, we might see him on the field. The biggest thing with Larry, He's huge. He's a big body. Again, I'm going to say this over and over again. He's a versatile lineman. He played guard. He played tackle. So wherever he fits best in the NFL, they're going to put him there. And then on top of that, when I was reading all these things about him and watching this stuff, they called him a messy brawler. Meaning, if you see him in an alleyway, he is going to just brawl the heck out of you until you have no like ability to move. I like that. I think that a lot of NFL teams saw offensive linemen like Nelson for the Indianapolis Colts come in and was just mean, was just nasty, would just bulldoze through anybody that got in their way. And NFL teams went, those are the kind of offensive linemen I want. Those are the kind of offensive linemen we need. And Larry is just another guy. Like both of these guys, I think Cohen tweeted out after we picked up Jenkins, he typed in hog and then he changed it and it said hogs. And that's what these guys are. These guys are absolute hogs. They're going to run you over. They're going to charge at you and they're going to pile drive you straight into the ground. No mercy.
No mercy at all. I mean, this Bears offensive line is looking pretty mean now, and defenders are going, all right, we're not licking our chops anymore at Andy Dalton. We got to get through some pretty big boys in order to get there. So, and like, I like what you kind of said. You see him in an alley, just imagine seeing, Jenkins and Borom in an alley in River North, enjoying themselves, and someone wants to get testy with them. It's not going to work out in your favor very well. You got two very large men, about 700 pounds of men, and two guys going at you. So watch out. But, I kind of was starting to hit on it, but, and here's something that I kind of disagreed with, but, Ryan Pace worked his magic, got absolute steals. He kept his 6th-round picks, but you can't hate on any of them because they were all projected way higher than we got them at. In the 6th round at 217, we got another Khalil Herbert, who is a running back and kick return specialist out of Virginia Tech. And he had got a lot of praise from other top running backs saying that this is one of the most talented guys I've ever worked with. He's smart. He's going to bring that edge to your team. And now there's a 4-man Bears running back room, which is great because we needed that depth because we were always dealing with guys getting hurt because of a poor offensive line. You improve the line, your running back room stays strong. And, a little bit about this guy. He's very fast. He's 5'9" and 205. So he is built like a truck. He will run you over. He's good with moves. The Bears like these small running backs and having David Montgomery be like the tower of terror out of all of them. He was 2nd team ACC in 2020, which is a big accomplishment, especially in the ACC. So overall, and he wasn't even a starter. So overall, I mean, he is just someone that we want to look out for. There's not much to really hit on with these later round picks, but except to be excited because he was projected in the 150 to 200 range and we got him at 217. So, a lot of people go, they dropped for a reason. This draft was very weird this year. I mean, the Packers did not do well in the draft. A lot of weird things happened with other teams this year, but the Bears hit this guy right in stride, no pun intended. And I mean, London, you can't hate on him, right?
No, you can't hate on him at all. And the biggest thing is we needed someone to replace Cordell Patterson. And that's exactly what Khalil Herbert's going to be. I don't think he's going to see time other than maybe like a really exotic package or if somebody gets injured. He's a one cut back, meaning when he takes the handoff, he goes into the hole, he makes one cut and then absolutely takes off. That's just the kind of back he is. But he's a great kick and punt returner. We needed a cheap replacement for Cordell Patterson. That's exactly what this pick was.
And you can't complain with it because the Bears did it 2 more times. They were looking for their next Cordell Patterson. And I think, Ryan Pace sat meditated, met with someone, no idea what he did, something weird, and was like, who do I need to focus on? Who do I want to take with these picks? And the next pick is honestly low-key one of my favorites out of this entire draft. And I know I hate on North Carolina players a lot, but this guy's different. At round 6, 221, the Bears took Daz Newsome, wide receiver out of North Carolina. Now, he screams Darnell Mooney. He is literally Darnell Mooney in this year's draft. He's 5'10", 185, skinny, but he is shredded, silly fast. Like, I mean, literally his draft comparison was Darnell Mooney. And that's something you want to look out for. He had 10 receiving touchdowns as a wide receiver, and he's a sneaky kick return and punt returner. So the Bears are definitely looking for that guy. They know that Tyreek Cohen is not that guy at punt return, because look what happened when he did do a punt return. We lost him against the Colts to an ACL injury. So don't want that to happen again. We want Tyreek Cohen to be that wildcat, be that player in the offense that Matt Nagy uses him well with, and find the replacement. I really, really like this pickup, especially in the 6th round. This is where he was ranked to go, but Darnell Mooney also was there. Little chip on the shoulder. This guy could be someone special.
Yeah, I mean, Daz can play. I mean, Newman and Daz Newsome, he can just flat out play. Like I said, he's a little undersized, 5'10", a little skinny, but he's ripped. He ran like a 4.38. But everything that I see on the field, watching tape of him, and then also just reading some stuff on him, he has that on the field speed. Because Darnell Mooney didn't run like a 4.2 40. You know, he ran around a 4.4, but he just looks faster on the field, in pads, in cleats. It's a whole different speed when you're on the field than when you're just in underwear and spandex running a 40. That's, Daz Newsome, same kind of guy. Also, a big thing that I really like about him, very, very, very sure-handed catcher. Extremely sure-handed catcher. Allen Robinson doesn't drop passes. Darnell Mooney doesn't drop passes. Newsome didn't drop passes at North Carolina. I don't expect him to do this. And I honestly think out of a 6th round, this is someone that probably could see the field. Especially if Anthony Miller's on the move, or, we get an injury or stuff like that. This is a player that I could definitely see hitting the field.
Absolutely. And I honestly, going back to that super fast, Anthony Miller is looking to still be on the move. Wims is looking to be on the move. And someone that we don't speak enough about, Riley Ridley, I don't think that his time with Chicago really panned out last year of his contract. I think he could be used as a trade asset, because a lot of people are going to see Ridley on that jersey and go, maybe we can make him like his brother. But Newsome, awesome pickup overall. Totally agree. Now, this next pick is number 6, 226, was probably overall prospect rating wise was the steal of the draft.
Favorite pick.
And London picked this guy, by the way. London picked this guy twice. Thomas Graham Jr., cornerback out of Oregon. I'm a big fan of this too, London. 5'10", 195, so he's got a little pop to him. He's not a big corner that I was hoping for, but he is a ball hawk. And before the draft, he was ranked as the 79th prospect. This dude dropped over 100, almost on the point, 150 spots. He is going to play with some anger behind him. He even wasn't expecting to get drafted this late. His draft party looked lit. I mean, this guy, I am so pumped about. I know I like Newsome, but man, for a late round steal, it doesn't get better than Graham Jr.
Yeah, and Nick, I was sitting there actually watching the 6th round picks go through with my buddies, and I actually turned to one of my friends and I said, "Hey man, there's 2 players I'm wondering, are they still on the board? Thomas Graham Jr. and Dylan Moses of Alabama, the linebacker." Dylan Moses actually went undrafted, not on our team though, so we're not going to talk about him. But Thomas Graham, again, once we got in the 6th round, I'm like, how is this guy still on the board? If he hadn't opted out of this past year, he was easily a late 2nd, 3rd round pick at corner. He's a nickel. He's a ball hawk. He's just an absolute dynamic and good, solid, reads the quarterback's eyes, can break on the ball very easily, and has actually very smooth hands for a corner out of Oregon. And he slipped to us in the 6th round. Again, I'm not going to say that I told everybody, on our mock drafts that because of us only having pro days and there not being a combine and COVID and everything, that some of these really, really talented players were going to slip very far down into the draft. I think Thomas Graham Jr. is exactly that kind of guy. He didn't have a great pro day. He opted out of 2020, so he didn't have a lot of film. Teams forgot about him because he hasn't played since 2019. The Bears and Ryan Pace waited, said, "Oh, wow, he's still available at 228, even though he was probably, I don't know, probably the 2nd or 3rd corner on our board." And they said, boom, pull the trigger.
Gotta love it. You gotta love him. Ryan Pace makes it work. And finally, going into the last round at pick 250. I was not expecting this pickup, but the more you learn about this guy, you can't hate him. Cyrus, did I say? I think I almost got it. We all know that I'm the worst at pronouncing names. Tonga, defensive lineman out of BYU. Not the BYU guy I wanted. We obviously know I was a big fan of Zach Wilson. You know, just with the storyline of the punky QB from BYU that comes to a Super Bowl defensive team that needed a quarterback. But this guy, I'm just as happy with. He's a very large man at 6'2", 326. So he's almost as big as Jenkins and Borom, but he's 3 inches shorter. So like, you know, you put that 3 inches shorter, you compact that. The man's a tank. He has a big wingspan though for his size, and he's really good at deflecting passes. He actually had the most deflected passes within his division last year. And I don't think he'll see much playing time, but he was a captain. So he has that leadership mentality. A lot of people are saying this guy could be Akeem Hicks in a couple years down the road. The underdog that comes from a university that didn't play against crazy competition, but ended up being a dog in the NFL. So can't hate the pick. I like him. He's got a big personality, and that's what the Bears need.
Yeah, I actually watched a BYU game, a couple of BYU games because of Zach Wilson, and I'm pretty sure it was against Eastern Carolina. It was one of the ones that they lost this past year where like Zach Wilson wore the headband and said, we can beat anybody. And then they played like Coastal Carolina and just got blown out or something. The one person on the defensive side is not a ton of BYU players on the defensive side got drafted or were very, electrifying was Tonga. I think he had 2 sacks in that game. A couple tackles for losses and stuff like that. And again, he's just a smaller, like a compact, big bowling ball that you can stick a D tackle. And guess what? Even if he's not getting to the quarterback or he's not getting to the running back, he just lays down and creates a pile. Again, I don't exactly know with like the last, 6th round pick, if he'll turn out, but with a great system, we're known for taking undrafted linemen or defensive linemen and turning them into future players that see the field. I mean, Tonga was, like you said, a team captain. He is someone that can follow in the footsteps of those players. And in 2 years from now, he could be our starting D tackle.
Well, with that, I mean, fantastic draft by Ryan Pace. Hats off to him.
Unbelievable.
Claps around.
Matt Nagy exactly what he wanted. Matt Nagy finally got his quarterback. Mitchell Trubisky was not his quarterback. Patrick Mahomes was. And I think Chicago's buzzing right now. Absolutely. The boys are buzzing. Summer weather's coming. I'm probably going to buy a Justin Fields jersey and a little mini one for Angel, even though Kellen Mond was the way. But Kellen Mond still came to the NFC North, so we were close.
We were close, and that could be a matchup for ages for years to come when, big old Kirk Cousins finally gets out of Minnesota. So with that, hats off to Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy and the Chicago Bears. Great job. Thank you for making your fans happy, and we hope that it works out. But with that, thank you for joining us for another episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Rohde. I am joined alongside my co-host, London Beth, and we will see you guys next time.